Hello, hello, DMG's Jim back to read through the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide, Chapter 6, Touring the Outer Planes, or Touring the Planes as it were. What's it called? Tour of the Multiverse. I'm getting lost in the reading here. We are part of the way down, some of the way down. We're working through the elemental planes. We've done air and earth. We're going to do fire next. Let's get to the reading. After the reading will be a brief section of comments, and we'll continue on. Someday we'll get through this section. Elemental plane of fire. A blazing sun hangs at the zenith of a golden sky above the plane of fire, waxing and waning on a 24-hour cycle. It ranges from white hot at noon to deep red at midnight, so the darker hours of the plane display a deep red twilight. At noon, the light is intense. Most businesses in the city of Brass take place during the darker hours. The weather on the plane is marked by fierce winds and thick ash. Although the air is breathable, creatures not native to the plane must cover their mouths and eyes to avoid the stinging cinders. The Ifrit use magic to keep the cinder storms away from the city of Brass, but elsewhere in the plain the wind always blows, sometimes rising to hurricane force during the worst storms. The heat on the plane of fire is comparable to a hot desert on the material plane and poses a similar threat to travelers. See environmental effects in Chapter 3. Sources of water are rarer, so travelers must carry their own supplies or produce water by magic. Important features of the plane of fire include the following. Cinder wastes. The plane of fire is dominated by a great expanse of black cinders and embers crossed by rivers of lava. Roving bands of salamanders battle each other, raid Azer outposts, and avoid patrols from the city of Brass. Obsidian ruins dot the desert, remnants of forgotten civilizations. The city of Brass. Perhaps the best-known location on the inner plains is the city of Brass, which stands on the shores of the Sea of Fire. This is the fabled city of the Ifrit, and its ornate spires and spiked walls reflect the Ifrit's grandiose and cruel nature. True to the nature of the plane of fire, everything in the city seems alive with dancing flames, reflecting the vibrant energy of the place. The heart of the city is the formidable charcoal palace, where the tyrannical emperor of the Ifrit reigns supreme, surrounded by nobles and a host of servant guardians and sycophants. The Sea of Fire. Lava flows through the fountains of creations towards the para-elemental plane of ash and pulls into a great expanse of lava called the Sea of Fire, traversed by Ifrit and Azair sailors and great brass ships. Islands of obsidian and basalt jut from the sea, dotted with ancient ruins and the layers of powerful red dragons. Torches. Built atop a tall basalt crag in the middle of a lava river is an iron-walled tavern that is most easily reached by a hot air balloon. The proprietor is a sentient flame-tongue mace, named Torchy, who sells a fine ale and seems to have a new wielder every few months. Torchy's is a popular hangout for ballooning enthusiasts. Elemental fire adventures. Fire represents vibrancy, passion, and change. At its best, fire reflects the light of inspiration, the warmth of compassion, and the flame of desire. The cults of elemental evil represent fire at its worst, cruel and wantonly destructive. Cultists of evil fire seek the power to burn away the impurities of the world with volcanic interruptions, uncontrolled wildfires, heat waves, and droughts, transforming the material plane into a mirror of the cinder wastes. Adventurers frequently come to the city of Brass on quest for legendary magic. If it's possible to buy magic items in your campaign, the city of Brass is likely the most likely place to find any items for sale. The Ifrit are fond of trading in favors, especially when they have the upper hands in negotiations. Perhaps a magical contagion or poison can be cured only with something that must be purchased in the markets of this city. That's some pretty cool artwork for the city of Brass, man. Ooh, creepy. Hot. Looks hot. And that's it. That's the elemental plane of fire listed out quickly. Again, without spending too much time in it, that's the end of our reading. Plenty of information here to inform you should you want to use it in your campaign or not. Enough here to kind of give you inspiration to build what you need to make. Just make sure you make it hot. Heat exhaustion being a thing. Flame damage, fire damage for touching a wall being a thing. It's hot. It's pure fire. So your players should be dealing with fire damage or have to be prepared to counter that. Resistances to heat, to fire are going to be paramount here. As is with the rest of them, the elemental plane of fire may have one of the most popular locations in the city of Brass, but it's the least hospitable. Nothing your players, if they're walking near a river of lava, should be cooking unless they have magical protection. So kind of keep that in mind. When you're placing adventures in the elemental plane of fire, it's hot because it's hot. It's pure fire. Have no qualms about doing damage, 2d6 fire damage every single round that your players walk around unprotected. It's hostile. They should be turning into ash if they don't prepare accordingly. But if you're not that heavy-handed of a DM, or if you're worried about killing your players for going into a place, then maybe you don't use the elemental plane of fire at all in your adventures. It's okay to ignore the inner planes as much as it is the outer planes if they don't fit the style of adventure that you're trying to build. If your players aren't hip to that kind of destruction and that kind of danger, then don't make them go to the elemental plane of fire for their adventures, you know? But last but not least, as I end this quick little video, again, we're going to refer to the Inner Planes book by Monty Cook, William Connors, second edition Planescape, an excellent, excellent, excellent treatise providing content, adventures, non-player characters, locations, and more to fill up the inner planes, to make the inner planes adventure places where you can adventure, to give yourself some features, locations, and plots to move your players in and out of them. So I suggest this book if you are needing more content to add to it. But I would suggest that you, as a Dungeon Master, reflect on the needs of your campaign, the needs of your story, and the needs and the desires of your group before you start implementing trips to the inner planes. They are elemental in their purest form, and while there are considerations given and small pockets of them designed for gameplay adventure, because we're still playing D&D, it's still got to be something that we're fun. So you still has to actually be playable. But most of the plane of fire is not playable for your average adventurer. So keep that in mind before you open up a portal and drop them into the freaking cinder wastes just to suddenly get turned into ash and blow away in the end of the campaign. Too bad, so sad. Make sure that you know what the players are capable of and you're giving considerations to allow them to survive in a place that they're not supposed to survive in. That's kind of paramount with all of the planes, all of the inner planes, all of the planes as entirely. But definitely when your elemental plane is comprised of fire, and fire is really painful and really dangerous and really destructive, keep that in mind and make sure that you're giving your players opportunities, considerations, and the resources to deal with the fire if you send them there. But go ahead and leave this video off there. Thank you guys for hanging out. The next video will be the elemental plane of water. And then we'll probably get back into the outer planes for a little bit of a spin. But hey, likes, follows, subscribes are appreciated. Join us on Twitch. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you think about the videos. If you want more or less. If you have questions, drop them in the comments so I can answer them. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you for another video soon. Take care.